Welcome back. Good Monday morning, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. I'm Maria Bartiromo, and I hope you're having a great Monday. It is Monday, April 20th. It is 7 a.m. on the button on the East Coast. A new Emerson College poll reveals Republican Steve Hilton is leading the California governor's race by 17%. Remember, Eric Swalwell left the race due to sexual misconduct allegations. Steve Hilton is closely followed by Republican Chad Bianco and Democrat Tom Steyer. Now, Miranda Devine from the New York Post is out with a new op-ed saying Eric Swalwell's fall from grace was by design so that the Democrats can keep, quote, their grubby hands on California, unquote. Joining me now is the man himself, California gubernatorial candidate Steve Hilton. Steve, great to see you, and congratulations. Wow, what a run you're having in California. I want to get your take on why you think this is. Tell us about the race, and tell us also what you think of Miranda's take that it was by design that the Democrats took down their colleague and friend, Eric Swalwell.
Well, great to be with you, Maria. You're right. It's a very exciting moment because we could actually imagine that California, for the first time in 20 years, elects a Republican governor, and then you'll have someone running California who wants to work with President Trump and his team to help push forward the common sense policy revolution in our biggest and most important economy. For example, opening up energy production so we can be energy dominant, making sure that we find and fight fraud and save taxpayer money so we can reduce taxes, managing our forests properly, enforcing immigration law. All of these things right now, you've got an administration in California fighting the president. We've got to be working together. That's going to be good for the whole country. The reason that I've been leading in the polls and our lead seems to be growing, apart, of course, from the president's endorsement of my campaign, which he did just a couple of weeks ago, is the fact that people are sick of the insanity in California. Obviously, the visible signs, the crime and the chaos and the homelessness, but also the fact that we have the highest poverty rate in the country, the highest unemployment rate of all 50 states, and the highest cost of living by far. That's why people want change in California. Miranda's exactly right. The Democrats, they've been in power too long, but they don't want to give it up. And they've thought that Swalwell might be the puppet that the Democrat machine could put in there to keep their power going. But the minute he becomes a liability, when all these stories start surfacing, which, by the way, they all knew about this before they backed him. But when it started coming out, they dumped him because they cannot risk losing California and the heart of the Democrat machine. But are we going to beat them this year? Because Californians have had enough.
That's incredible. And, you know, I think you're spot on when you say this is about common sense, because even liberals and people who are in the middle who might lean to the left are saying, I've had enough. I mean, California Governor Gavin Newsom is being slammed because his wife's billionaire cousin, Tom Siebel, is donating to the governor's competitors. Steve, he gave a reported $50,000 to San Jose Mayor Matt Mahan, and he gave $10,000 to you. Do you know Tom Siebel? He's been on this show many times. I didn't realize that he was Newsom's wife's cousin, but he's donating to you over his cousin's husband.
Absolutely. Now, I know Tom lives not far from me in the Bay Area, been to a few of our events. And there's a growing movement, actually, Maria, of business leaders in California who are joining our campaign. For a while, the business community in California said, you know, we like Steve. We think he's got the right ideas, removing regulations, lowering taxes. He'd be a great governor, but we can't see a Republican winning. And so they've been looking for another Democrat candidate to support. But there isn't another Democrat who's got a chance of winning, who's got the right ideas. So day by day, we are seeing more and more business leaders getting behind my campaign. And here's the exciting news. I think that once I'm through the primary and in the top two, and it's a choice between me and I think the real likely competitors now is either going to be the billionaire climate fanatic, Tom Steyer, who's endlessly pandering further and further to the left, or Katie Porter. We're going to see a real movement from the business community behind my campaign so that we have a level playing field with the government unions that have put the Democrat machine in power for so long. And that's another reason why I think we can win this year. Of course, there's one other thing everyone needs to be aware of. Whatever happens with the Save America Act in Washington, here in California, because of the ballot initiative, we have the chance to vote for voter ID in November. That is supported by a majority of Californians, but particularly Republicans. That means we're going to have a big Republican turnout in November. It's another reason why we really can pull it off and win in California this November.
Yeah, that's a great point, and that's why President Trump wants the Save America Act as a national legislation here. But we'll see what happens with this reconciliation package. Steve, what do you make of this? Federal authorities arrested an Iranian woman at the L.A. airport over the weekend for possibly brokering deals to sell Iranian-made drones, bombs, and weapons to the Sudanese military. Shamim Mafi, reportedly tied to the Iranian regime, gained U.S. residency under the Obama administration. Back in 2016, she was working on behalf of Iran. She's expected to make her initial appearance before the court today, Steve. I know there's a big Iranian population there in Los Angeles.
Yes, and overwhelmingly a population that supports President Trump and what he's doing, supports me. I've got strong connections into that community, a wonderful community. There's going to be part of the California Revolution this year, I'm sure of it. We've got a couple of events coming up just in the next couple of weeks. However, that also includes a few, what you could say, rotten apples. We saw it with the Soleimani relative the other week, and this is really important. We have to make sure that we are working together with the administration, hand in hand, to make sure that we find any threats like this. We've got a great U.S. attorney appointed by President Trump in the Central District of California that covers Los Angeles, Bill Asaley, and he's going to be working very hard on this, I know. But again, it's an example where you need California leadership to be working with federal law enforcement to make sure we deal with threats like this.
Well, look, you are an astute economic follower, and you've studied economics for a long time. I used to work with you at another network where we were both doing markets and business, and I know that you are spot on these economic issues about California. California facing a $2 billion budget accounting error, Steve, one that the Democrats, as well as Gavin Newsom, were aware of, but they did not alert the public. State leaders learned of the issue as early as February, but it was never disclosed until April. They were, meanwhile, publicly warning of these budget shortfalls, Steve. The state, meanwhile, is battling an affordability crisis paired with a mass exodus of residents and companies. From 2010 through 2024, almost 10 million people left California. I know you led a town hall yesterday, and you talked about all of this. Making the state affordable again for Californians was the what was your headline there. Tell us about the town hall and what you're seeing happening in California right now.
So we actually did a number of them yesterday up and down California. Yesterday we were in Orange County and the greater Los Angeles area, and you're seeing hundreds and hundreds of people coming out to our events now. People really want change. It is not just Republicans. The other week we did an event in Hollywood, in Beverly Hills, actually, with a lot of Hollywood leaders, Democrats, mostly Democrats, coming to the events, who had in LA, who never would have thought of supporting Republicans, but they can see it's gone too far, not least because the entertainment industry, along with every other industry, is being driven out of California by the taxes and regulations. You speak about the budget. They are so casual with taxpayer money. They don't see it as resources that are taken from hardworking Californians and entrepreneurs and businesses that they have to be careful with. That's why the budget of California has nearly doubled in the last 10 years, but all the results are worse. The schools are nearly the worst in the country. The roads are literally the worst in the country. We have businesses leaving because Chief Executive Magazine ranks California 50th out of 50 for business climate. It's now 10 years in a row. We can't go on like this. We are killing what should be the engine of the American economy, because California needs to be in the lead on AI, as you've discussed so powerfully today. You know, we're the home of AI in California, but if we micromanage it like the Democrats want to do, we're going to drive that out as well.
Yeah. Well, here's a couple of numbers for you. California's top tax hit is income tax, and that's up to 13.3% on income tax, the highest state rate in the country for top earners. Then you've got sales taxes among the highest in the country, okay, up 8.5% to 11%, depending on the city in California. That's just sales taxes. And then, of course, there's property taxes. For property taxes, they look low on paper, but big home values are driving huge bills there as well, Steve. So you are right on the money. Then, of course, you're talking about this billionaires tax, right? That's why everybody's leaving. California Democrats are being ripped over a bill that one assembly member has called the Stop Nick Shirley Act. Meanwhile, get this. The bill would punish anybody aiming to expose fraud in the state. It imposes penalties on anyone who publishes organizations' images and any information on social media about fraud in the state. All of this as California comes under fire for reported hospice fraud scams in L.A. The issue coming to light when independent journalist Nick Shirley posted a video about it in March. Health and Human Services Secretary RFK Jr. is estimating the cost of fraud could reach $5 million, Steve. Can you imagine? I mean, what are we, in Russia? Are we in the Middle East where now we're going to go to jail and we're going to get fines if, in fact, we publish something on social media?
It's incredible. But first, just quickly on the taxes, another one for your list, the highest gas tax in the country. That's why we have the highest gas prices, over $2 higher than the rest of the country. And of course, we have the highest electric bills, more than double the national average because of their insane climate extremism. The gas prices and the electric bills feed into the costs of every business, which is why it's part of the reason the business climate is so hostile. This bill is a total scandal. It reveals the real corruption of this Democrat regime, that when we expose, and Nick Shirley's been doing it, James O'Keefe, Dr. Oz, of course, the vice president's fraud task force, and my effort, Cal Doge, which we set up 2 months ago. When we expose this, you would think that they want to work with us so that we can save taxpayers' money and make sure the money goes to where it should be going. But it shows you the rottenness and corruption of this Democrat regime and this machine they've built, that they actually are fighting this rather than what they should be doing, which is opening the books, showing us where the money's going.
All right, Steve, we're going to be watching all of that. And you're right on gas, among the highest effective gas costs nationwide. It's quiet, but it is painful. Gas tax 70 cents plus per gallon. And then hidden costs via cap and trade and regulations as well. Steve, good to see you. We're watching your race closely. We'll see you soon. Steve Hilton this morning in California.
Good to see you, Maria. Thank you.
All right.